Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. Well, in the wake of the 2022 midterms, where it looks as though uh, the House is going to go to the Republicans and the Senate is going to stay with the Democrats. There's been quite a few takes on what to or how to analyze the results of the 2022 election. And it's really hard to summarize everything, but I will put it to you this way. If you are a Democrat, and this is as far as I will go with the Democrats, you should be mildly optimistic, not overwhelmingly, but mildly optimistic about the results in the 2022 midterms. If you are a neocon, you should feel terrible about the election results because neocons are establishment Republicans. They are establishment conservatives. And by and large, as a whole, they want the Republican Party to do well. And I think that they have the most inaccurate view of what happened in the midterms of any of the groups that are involved in politics. If you are a paleoconservative, I would say it's somewhere in between. It's not, you should not necessarily be optimistic, but you also shouldn't be sad either. Because when it comes to paleoconservatives, on one hand, yes, would it be slightly better if a establishment Republican won over a Democrat? A little bit. But would it overwhelmingly be better? No. And it's to the point at this moment in time where some paleoconservatives, aka Nick Fuentes, basically are saying that if it's between an establishment Republican and a Democrat, don't fucking vote. Don't even vote. And I'm starting to myself drift more towards that. Anyways, what this video is about is we will be watching Ben Shapiro's main takeaway as to why the Republican Party did not do as well as they should have done in the 2022 midterm election. And just to save the suspense, his main takeaway is that people, Americans, should get married because single women, aka single white women, voted Democrat. And it's like, come on, Ben. Does that really fucking surprise you, dude? Come on now. Women in general tend to be more liberal and way more malleable than men. And in general, that is definitely the case. They tend to be more liberal. What do you think single women are going to be without either a female partner or a male partner? Okay. Again, why does that matter? Well, and as you will see in Ben's take, in the single fact that women are malleable, if they are married, they are far more likely to not bend to the will of, but move in the direction and understand the viewpoint of their husband than if they are single. So we're going to be watching this, and I obviously not all of it because I don't want to get copyright struck. I don't even know what his channel is. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if his channel is as copyright or sharing of, as any other channel there is, but we will dive into it. But before we do that, be sure to subscribe. It takes 1.25 seconds. Like, comment, share. You know the fucking drill. And without further ado, let's get into this. Essentially, Ben Shapiro is asking men to put past or put aside years and years of men having to self-sacrifice in order to enter into marriage just to help the GOP party. And it's silly. It is absolutely silly. The bottom line is that when it comes to what Ben Shapiro is talking about here, of the two genders, men and women, who hurts the most when not entering into a marriage, it is by far women. It's not men who are searching for another sugar daddy when they don't get married. It is women. Let me give you guys an example. Across YouTube, content creators, look at all the single guys who are doing just fine. Owen Schroyer of InfoWars. You have the co-host of Valuetainment. You have Paul Joseph Watson. You have blanking on it. Nick Fuentes. Guys, I could keep naming names of men on YouTube who are doing just fine and living fulfilling, not just fulfilling, but lives that are directly impacting America and society and the West at large, even though they are not entered into a marriage. Do I believe that overall entering into a marriage would benefit a man more than it would hurt? Maybe. I mean, I guess. But again, even that question is not a full yes, because if it's more than a 50% chance that a man is going to get divorced and going to lose all his money and lose his kids and lose this and lose that, the answer is not a convincing yes. It's just not. It just isn't. And when it comes to what Ben Shapiro is talking about here, because basically, again, what he is saying is that the GOP lost the election because not enough women are married. And I got news for you, Ben. It's only going to get worse. There was a study that was done by the major banks, the investment banks, that showed that over 50% of marriageable age women will not, by the year 2030, will not ever have been married and will not have kids again by 2030. It's only going to get worse. And this is not because men wanted that to be that way. It's because women. It is because women no longer respect men. It's because women are sold this idea of, I got to be a boss babe. INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that? It's all of that nonsense, which is why this is not, in my opinion, a man's problem. And here's the thing. This is assuming that what Ben is saying is 100% and the reason the GOP lost the 2022 midterms. It's not. The GOP lost the 2022 midterms because the Republican Party decided not to back America First, paleo-conservative, nationalistic Republican candidates. In other words, they chose not to support Trump-backed candidates, by and large, because by and large, the GOP, the establishment, Republicans, the neocons, just like the Democrats, do not like Trump, which is overall, and this is, I don't want to turn this into a Trump versus DeSantis thing, but make no mistake. If you're choosing between Trump and DeSantis, you're basically choosing between the establishment candidate and the non-establishment candidate. And I'll let you decide who is who among those two. So, Ben, listen, the bottom line is, would America be more traditional and more conservative leaning if by and large people were married in America? Yes. But you and I both know that it would be silly and almost a sin. Well, You're not a Christian, so I can't really say. But almost a sin to ask men to enter into something in which the overwhelming data says that it will be a failure, regardless of if they're Christian or otherwise. I've said this before. What is the bigger sin? For a man not to get married, or for a man to tell another man to enter into something in which they have an overwhelming statistical probability of it going to shit? Which one is the bigger sin? All right, guys, we'll listen to a little bit more of this and then I will bounce.
Fact in Western life, and it's completely destroying the society at large because it's essentially.
Oh, really, Ben? Really, Ben? It is? Oh, that's a shocker.
Eviscerating, as we say, all of the social bonds that exist absent the federal government. You're now an atomized individual who lives in perhaps consensual relations with a small group of people. And then over time, those ties kind of fall apart. And it's just you, the individual, floating atomistically through society and the federal government. And there's nothing.
Again, no. That's not men that are floating atomistically through society. It's women that do that. Women float atomistically through society and aimlessly through society when they do not enter into a marriage. Men, by and large, do just fine. Maybe they do a little bit worse than married men as a whole, but it's not like it's a huge difference. Whereas for women, it resoundingly is. So again, Ben, let's look at this and truly be honest. And even if this is a big problem, it's not going to change anytime soon. So you have to just move off of it, because in the end, is it ethical and morally correct for you to advise people to enter into something that is just downright failing? I've said this in the past. In essence, what Ben is asking men to do is to enter into something, number one, that has a statistical probability to fail, but number two, enter into something with someone who likes the idea of a wedding, but doesn't like the idea of being a mother or a wife, and doesn't even know how. So with those two things being what they are, how can you possibly advise that? All right, guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share. You know the drill. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I think Ben Shapiro has this wrong. I'm curious what your guys' comments are on this subject. As you guys know, I'm an Orthodox Christian, so perhaps, my opinion on this is somewhat surprising. But again, I'm curious what you guys think. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow in facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.